So I just got done reading a classic. For me, classics take a lot of brain space, and I wanted something for my next read to be a little bit lighter, easier to read, just something that I could fly through. Also, I have a lot of backlogged book of the month books that I need to get to, especially if I'm going to justify continuing the service every month. So I've got to think about 13 that I haven't read yet. Some of them are all the way back from 2021. So I thought it would be fun to do a vlog this week of only reading book of the month books. That way I can work my way through my backlog and also have a little bit of an easier reading time brain-wise, because it's the end of the month. You only have a few days left of the month, and I don't know, I just thought it'd be something fun to do. I picked up The Wishing Game this month for my book of the month pick, and I'm only 3 chapters in, so I'm not quite, I'm not really invested yet, but it just sounded so intriguing to me. So the premise is this teacher's aide wants to save money to adopt a child out of foster care, and the author that she grew up reading, this like Clock Island series, hasn't written a book in years, but he comes out with a book, and he is only writing 1 copy, and there's like a game, and whoever wins the game wins the book. She wants to win the book so she could get some money to adopt this child. So it's dual perspective. It's jumping back from her perspective, and then a man that is living on Clock Island with the author. And so far it's pretty good. It's giving me a little bit of the Westing Game vibes, even from just, the title. But we are a foster family. We have fostered several children. We've adopted through the foster care system, our youngest. And the way that they're approaching that in this book is just kind of odd to me. And it's just like not how things work. So basically she's a teacher's aide, and she's wanting to adopt a student in her school who is in the foster care system and who has like good foster parents, but she's meeting with like his caseworker, and his caseworker is telling her that she can't adopt him because she wouldn't pass the home evaluation. And it's just, in my experience, not really how foster care works, at least where I'm from. I'm not sure that, I don't know, someone could petition, maybe they could, I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, like a teacher or something that knows a student could petition, but she just keeps trying to change this caseworker's mind, and the caseworker has told her it's not going to happen. She lives with a bunch of roommates that are still in college. She doesn't even have a car. She's a teacher's aide, so she doesn't make a lot of money. She's telling her that it's not going to happen, but for whatever reason, she keeps pushing it and keeps trying. And which, on the one hand, I'm glad that someone is caring enough for this kid to fight for him. But on the other, I'm just like, it's just not. If they've told you wouldn't pass a home evaluation and nothing has changed, her home situation hasn't changed, her lack of vehicle hasn't changed, her job hasn't changed, they wouldn't meet with you again, I feel like. But anyway, so we'll see how they keep addressing that throughout the book. But like I said, it's I'm only 3 chapters in, but the game is afoot. The game has started, and I don't know, it's really intriguing. So hopefully the next time I check in, I will have gotten this finished, or a larger chunk read, so I can talk to you about it, and then maybe even started on some of these other options that I have. I did not update you at all this week, and that's fine. It's fine. It's just a lot of summer happened this week. We had unexpected guests from out of town, and we spent some time with them, and it was a whole lot of fun. it didn't really cut down on my reading time, but it did cut down on my filming time. So I've read quite a bit of my book of the month books, and I will update you all now. So the first book I've read was The Wishing Game. And the last time we talked, I had just started this, and I felt a little bit of a disconnect between, what was her name, Lucy and Christopher. And even after getting their backstory and why she felt so fiercely that she wanted to adopt him, I still just did not buy it. Like, I wasn't convinced. And so because of that, I feel like it wasn't a favorite read for me. Also, I heard some people say that it kind of gave them like Willy Wonka vibes. However, I did not like the mastermind. It was just, he was strange. So the mastermind was the guy who wrote the book that they're all trying to win. And in my brain, he did not give off Willy Wonka vibes. Like, he was just a lonely guy who wrote children's books, and children were drawn to these books, and so therefore they were drawn to the island where he lived, and he felt like, I don't know, like a father figure to them. And it was just kind of, it just wasn't, this was more, I feel like, a book about found family, which I normally love. I normally love the found family element. It's one of my favorite things in books, but it just felt forced a little bit. This guy felt like responsible for these children, I guess, that showed up at his island. And so years later, he wants to help them out in their lives. And I don't know, it just felt strange. I wish there were more games. Like, the whole book is called The Wishing Game. I wish that there were more games, more puzzles to solve, more intrigue, and that part of it felt kind of rushed to me. So not my favorite, but it was a quick read, and it was engaging, but it just wasn't my favorite. So after I finished The Wishing Game, I picked up Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and this is the first Rebecca Ross book I've read, and I really, really liked this one. So the premise is, it is set in a time where two gods are rivaling, and they're fighting, and there's a war going on, and the humans are just kind of caught up in their war. They're drafting them for soldiers to help them in this war that they're having. And we follow two rival journalists, and they're connected through a magical typewriter that they both have, and they don't know that they're connected. Well, one of the parties knows, but one doesn't. And they send letters to each other back and forth, and these letters start to mean something to them. And so this is an enemies to lovers story, and that part was good. So about 3/4 of the way into the book, it sort of slogged for me. I felt like it became a little repetitive as far as these two characters, you know, they're kind of saying the same things to each other over and over again in their letters, and then the war, the same kind of things are happening in the war, and it didn't really, for, I don't know, a good chunk of it wasn't really moving the story along. It just kind of felt like we were frozen in place, and then towards the end the story picks back up. The ending was great, so I don't know, but I did really enjoy that, even though a little bit in the middle did slog for me and it was a little repetitive at times. I still really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the way Rebecca Ross wrote the story, and the concept was just so great, and I believe it's going to be a duology, so I'll definitely pick up the second book because I enjoyed it enough to continue. So after that book, I picked up Yours Truly, and this is the second book after Part of Your World, and I think I may have liked Yours Truly a little bit better, even though Part of Your World was like small town vibes, which I love. It just, I don't know, this one I really enjoyed. So both of these books actually deal in letters, and you get to read the letters in both of these books. But the premise of this is this doctor is waiting on a kidney transplant for her brother, and a new doctor comes in, and they don't hit it off. He has social anxiety, and so every time he tries to make the situation better with her, it makes it worse. And so he writes her a letter, and they begin a correspondence, and they become friends. And then because of his social anxiety, he has a situation in his family life that he needs a date for, and so then the fake dating trope happens and all of that. But it was just lighthearted and fun. Okay, so the next book I picked up was The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, and I really just did not like this book. It is supposed to be a thriller, but it was not thrilling at all. So basically the premise of this is a couple purchases a house on this cliff that is a known spot for people to come to in their lives. They jump off the cliff. And so her husband has been able to talk, like he goes out there and he talks them down, and he's been able to talk down 7 people. And then one night a lady comes out there and she jumps. He's not able to stop her. And so the story unfolds, and you get the wife's perspective, and you also get the woman who jumps, her perspective as well. And it felt more like just a literary novel with a little bit of mystery built into it. It did not feel like a thriller at all. And I've never read any Sally Hepworth books, so I don't know if that's kind of her thing, if it's not, or if that's not common to her, but I just really did not like it. I did not like the characters. I felt like the husband, I don't even remember his name, Gabe, I felt like he was unlikable in a lot of ways. And Pippa, the wife, was also just almost an enabler. And I don't know. It was not my cup of tea. It did not have me at the edge of my seat like a lot of thrillers do. It did not leave me guessing anything. The way it wrapped up, I was not really surprised, but also at the same time I was like, okay, well, if that is the twist, who cares, kind of, you know. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. A lot of these things could have been prevented by a simple conversation or two. I don't know, it just was not my jam. I will say I haven't read a thriller in a long time, so maybe I'm just not used to the genre anymore, but the cover was better than the book, as a friend of mine said, which, accurate. So those are the 4 books that I was able to read off of my book of the month shelf. I had 13 unread books going into the week, and now I have 9, so I think that's pretty good for a week of just reading book of the month books. After I started this video, I watched another video, and apparently it's a thing. There's like a readathon or something going on this month about catching up on all of your book of the month that you have not read. So I didn't even realize. So I'll probably, I know I'm gonna be getting rid of 2 of these for sure. I'll put them up on my Pango. I'm not really sure about yours truly yet. I'll keep Divine Rivals, but I don't know, we'll see. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.